everybody, welcome back to another session of the Hopry. My name is Starr, and this week I'm going to be flying solo for the first time in, 2-3 weeks? So anyway, my buddy Tim had to postpone our week of Russian River Week, and hey, you know what, that's fine. I got plenty other beer that I can review until then. And I was kind of looking at some of the beers that I had downstairs here in the collection, and Founders just stood out to me. So I'm going to bring you guys a full week of Founders. You can see the 3 beers that I've got lined up for us. The one thing that I want to point out that makes it even more interesting is that they're all aged in bourbon barrels. So today is Monday, and we're going to be looking at the Backwoods Bastard, which is a Scotch Ale, or AKA a wee heavy. And then on Wednesday, I figured we would go ahead and take a look at Founders Nemesis. And then on Friday, we'll kind of end it with probably their most celebrated beer, which is the Founders Kentucky Breakfast Stout, also known as KBS. So with that said, again, all 3 aged in bourbon barrels. I've had them all, so I'm sort of cheating with these reviews. More so just kind of sharing my thoughts than really having them for the first time. But hey, you know what? That's okay. It should be fun. So again, the first one that we're looking at is the Founders Backwoods Bastard. This one has 50 IBUs and runs at 10.2%. Now I find that kind of funny because the Backwoods Bastard is just a barrel-aged version of their Dirty Bastard. And I think the alcohol by volume on that one is around mid-8, so 8.2 to 8.5-ish. So pretty interesting, the fact that you add a beer like this to a barrel and it bumps up that ABV percentage by pretty much a whole 2%. So expecting a lot of heat off of this one. It's actually been quite a while since I've had one of these. I think the last time I had one was probably about 3 months or so ago. And I remember it being, really kind of hot, getting a lot of that heat from the bourbon barrels. But this is probably going to die down quite a bit. I've had these maybe 6 to 8 months, so really excited to try it. Haven't had one in a while, so let's go ahead and get started. Groovy. Set that up there. All right, so really, man, I'll tell you, the color on this beer it's in the top 5 of the best looking beers that I've seen. I mean, rich ruby red and mahogany are the only 2 colors that you need to know. It's pretty clear. I can see through it. There's really not a whole lot of haze. Maybe just a touch of sediment floating around in there, but not a whole lot. Definitely see the bubbles, but man, I'll tell you, I don't know if you can see that on, you're not going to be able to tell on camera, but pour one of these, hold it up to a light, absolutely amazing. So I can smell it, which with bourbon barrel beers, 10% beers, that's pretty common. You can smell them before you even get them into your nose. But that's what I'm going to do now, is I'm going to smell it and taste it, and then smell it and then taste it, and let you know what I think. All right, guys, so here we go. Very interesting nose. Not as similar as I remember it being. This actually really smells like a barley wine to me. Definitely getting those oak characteristics from the bourbon. A little bit of bourbon. Miles and miles of caramel in here. And on wee heavies, they typically take the wort and they boil them a little bit longer, almost to get that caramelization process working. And that's really going on in here. But you know how a barley wine has that real kind of a sweet figs and dates and prunes and all those sticky fruits that you hear me talk about a lot are really kind of in there. Not getting a whole lot of hop though. If there is any hop in there, it's more on the bittering end than the aromatic end. I'm definitely getting mostly caramel, vanilla, lots of sugar, maybe even a little bit of brown sugar, and then the vanilla and the oak characteristics are coming out a lot. Maybe a touch right on the edge as well, a little bit of black peppercorn. Not the flavor of black peppercorn, but more of like the aromatics of a black peppercorn, which I know, obvious, you're smelling it, not tasting it, but anyway, well, I'm going to go ahead and taste it. I've got enough going on in the nose, and I think I'm ready to try it again. this is really aged nicely. There's a touch of heat. It's right on the back end though. It's not, you know, immediate. Once it kind of goes down, I'm getting a ton of the bourbon barrel, a lot of vanilla qualities, that, you know, really robust sweetness is in there. Not a ton of bitterness, which, you know, I think again the flavor really reminds me of a non-hopped barley wine, but with more of a vanilla essence to it. And I'm trying to think of what this reminds me of. I know it's one that I've reviewed on the show before. Actually, it's the New Holland Dragon's Milk. It really reminds me of that one a lot, though not as dark. Definitely lots of vanilla though. After you take a sip and kind of let it sit, you can tell I'm kind of taking, what, 15, 25 seconds between sips. Really what I'm left with is just a little bit of heat on my tongue. Loads of vanilla. You know, I know a lot of times when people use oak or bourbon barrels, you really taste more of the bourbon than anything else. I'm really tasting those woody characteristics, the characteristics of vanilla. Very, very, very nice beer. This thing is aged extremely well, and I'm not gonna lie, I wasn't the biggest fan of this the first time I had it, first couple of times. Again, I've said it before, you know, not the biggest fan of this style of beer, but I'm pretty damn happy with how this is tasting about 6 to 8 months later. And I don't know if there's a bottled on date on here or not. Actually, yeah, it was bottled on November 16th of last year, so 11/16/09. So again, it's got about 6 to 7, maybe 8 months of age on it, and I think it's holding up extremely well. I think this might be one of the best Scotch ales I've had. You know, if you have these or you have access to them, based upon the date, if you can find some that are 6 months or older, highly recommend picking up a 4-pack. You know, I've said it 100 times, Founders does just about everything well, and this is just another example of that. Though I will tell you once more, I don't recommend buying these young and drinking them right away. They're really kind of off-putting at that point, but not the case with this one. Yeah, good finish. You know, this is a really manly, macho style beer. It's got some really nice floral components though. I think it's going to make you guys pretty happy. I really like this one. Again, not going to score it on camera. I'm going to go ahead and finish it, kind of, you know, let it sink in, make sure that through the whole bottle I still feel the same way. But anyway, I'm going to go ahead and sit here and finish the rest. Hopefully you guys are looking forward to the rest of this week. I know I'm pretty excited. Again, it's been a while since I've done this solo. Really love having Tim on the show, and, you know, kind of having somebody to bounce ideas and flavors. Well, hell, it's just frankly nice to have somebody else talk, so I don't have to talk the whole time and I can sit back and drink and smell. But anyway, really enjoyed this beer. And I look forward to these other two that we're going to be sharing on Wednesday and Friday. So hope you'll come back. My name is Mark Starr, and we'll see you guys next time. Cheers. Founders, you just own my heart. I want you to know that. You can look on my sessions tab. You guys have had more beers reviewed on my site than any other brewery. Man.